What's up guys, this is Darkbblue, a gamer who loves Souls-like games, looter games, and every game that involves build making. Wuthering Waves, a new action mobile gacha game from Chinese developers, has been out recently. Yes, I know this game has been criticized a lot, but it's impossible for the devs to fix so many weaknesses soon, so just stop listing all of them. Instead, I think the better way is to find some strengths and thus identify the most important weaknesses to fix that directly hinder the strength. So that's what I'm gonna do in this video. Find the strengths and then the weaknesses that are more emergent to fix. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's dive right into it. From the current version of Wuthering Waves, I can only find one strength, which is combat. So, well, why can it be called a strength? The combat mechanic in Wuthering Waves offers quite large room for creativity. You can design your own combos freely and enjoy the combo even if you just want to improvise. And this is the result of two key designs in the combat: Universal Cancel and Universal Lingering Switch. So in Wuthering Waves, attack animations are universally able to be cancelled. You can cancel your basic attack or E-skill with dash or jump. More importantly, you can also cancel them with an echo skill, which is cancelling an attack with another attack. Allowing players to cancel attacks is the most basic way for an action game to offer room for creativity. Thus far, this design has brought Wuthering Waves to the standard level of all action games. However, the combat is even beyond cancel. So technically, if you cancel an attack with character switch, it becomes lingering switch instead of any normal cancel. The first character won't simply disappear, but instead linger foreground until the cancel attack is automatically completed. In the meantime, you can already control the second character. Of course, this mechanic can only be triggered amid combat, so make sure you are near an enemy if you want to try it out yourself. For example, I can first do some attacks with the first Greatsword character. After I use her E-skill, I can use the Echo skill to cancel the post-attack animation. Then I immediately switch to another character after the use of the Echo skill. In this way, the landing strike of the Echo Bird and the switch in attack of the second character almost hit simultaneously, which looks very cool. Such lingering effect after attack cancel also exists in some other action games, but usually you can only do this with very few attacks specially designed so. Yet Wuthering Waves makes it so universal that almost any attack in this game can be lingering switched. This brings unimaginable room for creativity, raising this game's level to top tier, well, at least in some aspects. You can design delicate combos based on the two cancel and lingering switch mechanics, but even if you just want to improvise, you can still enjoy the two. For example, whenever you intend to dodge or counter, consider switching to another character before you do. Obviously, the strength of combat is huge, but it doesn't mean the many weaknesses can be simply tolerated, as some weaknesses directly hinder your experience of the strength. I will next discuss such weaknesses, which I believe should be tackled before others. So, some weaknesses can ruin your combat experience in the current version, but they are likely to be fixed easily. For example, the progression is disastrous. In an action game with very good combat design, I need to be engaged more in combat. But this game forces me to go through very long and boring dialogues after the prologue boss fights. We know the lores and dialogues in Wuthering Waves are currently one of its weaknesses. So why does this game intend to showcase its weaknesses instead of strengths at the beginning? Another such weakness is the open world design. There are too many puzzles, and these such puzzles can be found in other games such as Genshin Impact, but Wuthering Waves should feature more combat-centric collectibles to highlight its sole strength instead of copying whatever designs Genshin Impact has. In fact, the recent game, Rise of the Ronin, is another open-world action game with very good combat and a poor world. But Team Ninja knows this fact and intentionally relates the open-world exploration to combat. The collectibles in Rise of the Ronin are either combat-centric or can be accomplished really simply by literally going there and pressing the interaction button. I know it was impossible for Wuthering Waves to learn this design in such a short time, but I hope the future maps can follow this design philosophy. The two weaknesses I've just talked about do bring very negative experience in early game, but their fix can be easy. However, there are more serious yet hidden problems within this game. The first problem is that the devs seem to take a rather negative attitude towards the cancel and lingering switch mechanics. One of my evidence is these two mechanics never show up in any in-game tutorials, as if the devs don't want players to discover them. Another fact as evidence is how the switch out skills of supporter characters are changed. In previous closed tests, such buffs last until the buff character goes fully background. However, in the current open test, it stops right when you switch to another character, which means the buff no longer covers a lingering switch. This is a very dangerous sign. If the devs are already thinking the lingering switch mechanic is bringing characters to unintended levels, won't they totally delete this mechanic in the future? It's hard, but still possible to turn the dev's mind, such that they design future characters based on rather than against the cancel and lingering switch mechanics. But there's yet another problem that is even harder to fix. Wuthering Waves, after all, is a mobile gacha game in essence. Mobile gacha players are not actually usually interested in such complicated combat, nor to mention how hard it could be to perform such a technique on phones. Mobile gacha games also tend to focus more on the rotation in which you use all your skills to deal more DPS instead of the interaction with enemies or fancy combos as in usual action games. I have to admit, I see no way to solve this problem. Basically, Wuthering Waves is a mobile gacha game, the sole strength of which is not even suitable for a mobile gacha game. So that's all I want to say about Wuthering Waves. One strength which is very impressive for action players, and many weaknesses that hinder this strength getting harder and harder to solve one after another. The hope is very limited, but I still hope this game can find a way out. If you like my story or want to join me into depth of games, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you around.